Welcome, friend. Tonight, we drift into 125 Minecraft facts, a gentle journey through the square worlds of imagination, through stories and secrets buried deep beneath the pixel soil, through quiet melodies, creatures of light and shadow, and the soft hum of creation itself. Let the glow of torches and the rhythm of footsteps in the grass become the heartbeat that guides you toward stillness, as we wander together through memories made of blocks and breath, through oceans, forests, and endless skies that never stop dreaming. So find a comfortable place to rest. Let your eyes grow heavy as the world around you fades into the familiar calm of distant caves and falling rain. And before we begin, take a moment to breathe deeply in and out, remembering that in this moment, you have nowhere to be but here. If you enjoy this quiet journey, consider subscribing, friend, so you can return whenever you wish to the peaceful corners of this world, and tell me softly, where are you listening from tonight? Fact 1. Minecraft began as a quiet experiment in May of 2009, a simple idea that grew in the hands of Marcus Persson, known to the world as Notch, who wanted to create a space of freedom, simplicity, and possibility, blending the charm of exploration with the rhythm of survival, making a world where everything was built by hand, block upon block, in a digital universe that felt strangely alive. And though it began as pixels and code, it soon became a living dream shared by millions who found solace in its endless sky. Fact 2. The earliest version of Minecraft was called Cave Game, a name that whispered of its primitive beginnings, where there were no goals, no monsters, only a flat terrain and stone blocks that could be placed and broken, a digital sandbox waiting to be shaped by imagination, showing that creation often starts with emptiness, that worlds can rise from silence, and even though it seemed small and incomplete, something about it felt eternal. A promise that simplicity could be the beginning of infinity. Fact 3. When Minecraft's first public version appeared, it spread quietly, almost like a secret passed between dreamers, its rough edges and empty landscapes becoming an open canvas where the player's hands and heart shaped the experience, and soon small communities gathered, sharing discoveries, building castles, digging mines, creating together in the stillness of an unpolished game that asked for nothing but curiosity, revealing how even the simplest of worlds could become a refuge for creativity and calm, one gentle update at a time. Fact 4. The name Minecraft itself came from a combination of two soft ideas: the act of mining and the joy of crafting words that fit together like blocks, simple yet endless, symbolizing a balance between discovery and creation, between the earth below and the mind's imagination. And though it may sound like just a name, it carries within it the essence of the entire game, that the act of making something new is itself a journey, a slow and soothing process, built not on haste but on wonder. Fact 5. Notch developed Minecraft while inspired by other games, Infiniminer, Dwarf Fortress, and Roller Coaster Tycoon, each lending a fragment of its soul. Yet Minecraft became something softer, more timeless, a place not of competition but contemplation, where digging was meditative and nightfall brought quiet reflection, where players could choose their pace, choose their dreams, making it not just a game but a kind of meditation, a rhythmic breathing through the digital soil, a reminder that even in pixels, peace can bloom. Fact 6. In its earliest days, Minecraft had no hunger, no beds, no structured world, just the infinite land and the soft hum of creativity, as if the world itself was sleeping and waiting to be awakened by the hands that shaped it. And though the graphics were rough and colors simple, players found serenity there, building shelters under square moons, lighting torches in dark caves, creating stories from stillness, and realizing that peace often lives in the act of gentle persistence. Fact 7. By 2010, Minecraft's growth was unstoppable, spreading not through advertising or loudness, but through whispers and wonder, carried by word of mouth, by videos and stories shared between players, showing that something pure and creative doesn't need to shout to be heard. It simply needs to exist, and like a seed planted in quiet soil, it grew into something vast, its community forming roots of kindness, imagination, and endless collaboration beneath the blocky sky. Fact 8. When Notch left Mojang's lead role, his creation continued to grow, tended by other dreamers who carried his vision forward, each update adding life villagers, jungles, oceans, bees all woven gently into the world, and though the creator stepped back, his fingerprints remained soft and eternal, hidden in every sunrise and pixelated leaf, reminding us that true creation, once shared, no longer belongs to one person but to everyone who touches it with care. Fact 9. Minecraft's code was once a delicate tapestry of Java, written line by line with patient precision, an imperfect but heartfelt structure that allowed endless modification, inspiring a generation of young coders and creators to learn, to explore, to mod, to build, showing that behind every pixelated mountain lies a deeper craft, the invisible artistry of logic and language, a reminder that even the unseen parts of a dream matter, as they hold the invisible rhythm of its world. Fact 10. In 2011, as the game officially released at Minecon in Las Vegas, the world celebrated not with fireworks, but with quiet joy, a moment that felt like the end of one journey and the start of another, as Minecraft had already become more than a game. It was a language of imagination, a soft place of refuge and creation where millions could escape, relax, and dream, together under one infinite sky of gentle, glowing squares. Fact 11. When survival mode was first introduced, it changed the rhythm of Minecraft forever, turning the quiet act of building into a living heartbeat where the sun rose and fell with purpose, and players felt the passage of time as something gentle yet meaningful, learning to gather, to craft, to endure, and to find beauty in small things like the glow of a furnace or the safety of a handmade shelter, showing that even in the simplest of worlds, life could be fragile, tender, and deeply rewarding. Fact 12. The first night in Minecraft became a kind of legend, a small story shared by all who entered its world, as the sky dimmed and shadows lengthened, and players learned that fear could feel beautiful when it came softly, carried by the moans of distant zombies or the hiss of a lurking creeper, teaching that safety is not just a place but a feeling, something earned through care, preparation, and a flickering torch in the dark, glowing like hope against the blackness. Fact 13. The hunger system, added much later, introduced a new layer of softness to survival. It made players pay attention to sustenance, to farming, to the rhythm of food and time, transforming the game from mere existence into a cycle of care, where bread and apples, meat and mushrooms became symbols of patience and routine, reminding players that even in a world of blocks, nourishment comes from harmony and persistence, not haste or excess, and that survival is most beautiful when it feels earned. Fact 14. Before beds existed, players spent long nights listening to the hum of monsters beyond their walls, waiting for dawn's gentle light to spill through cracks in the dirt, and that waiting, that stillness, became part of Minecraft's quiet poetry, a space between fear and calm, between night and safety, and though beds later brought comfort and control, many still remember that feeling of being small and alone under a vast pixel sky, realizing that the simplest acts, waiting, listening, breathing, were enough to make the world feel alive. Fact 15. The crafting table, that humble square of wood and logic, became the true heart of the game, a place of creation, reflection, and imagination, where players learned the secret language of pattern and purpose, placing items with care, discovering tools, armor, and art, one recipe at a time, and it taught something timeless, that creativity is not chaos but gentle experimentation, that to craft is to understand connection, to see how small parts form a greater whole, just as every player's quiet journey builds the larger story of Minecraft itself. Fact 16. Tools in Minecraft wear down, breaking after long use, and this quiet impermanence gives the game its soul, for even though players can rebuild, reforge, and renew, there is something tender about the moment a pickaxe fades to dust, a reminder that effort carries weight, that every mined block and chopped tree leaves an invisible trace of labor and memory, showing that in creation, as in life, everything has a rhythm of use and rest, and beauty often lies in the moment before something is gone. Fact 17. When caves were added in deeper, more natural shapes, players began to descend into the earth with torches in hand, their footsteps echoing softly through darkness, discovering that exploration was not only about finding treasure, but about confronting the unknown, about moving slowly through the quiet spaces beneath the world, listening to dripping water and distant echoes, finding peace in uncertainty, and realizing that fear and curiosity can exist together, forming the pulse of discovery that still defines Minecraft's beating heart. Fact 18. The day and night cycle, lasting 20 minutes, may seem mechanical, yet it feels almost spiritual, a rhythm of light and shadow that mirrors the passage of time in a dream, urging players to balance creation and rest, to act and to wait, to seek and to hide. And though the sun in Minecraft is a square of light, it holds something real, a reminder that even digital skies can feel warm and that peace can be measured not in hours, but in the soft flicker between dusk and dawn. Fact 19. When weather arrived, rain falling across plains, snow drifting in mountains, lightning splitting the dark, the world gained something like emotion, a gentle melancholy that wrapped each landscape in a feeling, making the blocky world breathe, its rhythm broken by thunder and silence alike, teaching that stillness can carry many moods, and that even storms, pixelated and simple, can make us feel small in beautiful ways, reminding us of the quiet relationship between nature, sound, and the human heart. Fact 20. Exploration soon became a way of dreaming, walking endlessly through forests and deserts, crossing rivers that shimmered like glass, climbing mountains just to see the world stretch on forever, realizing that the horizon was never an end but an invitation, and that Minecraft's map was less a space to conquer than a space to wander, to lose oneself in, to breathe within, and to find, in its pixelated vastness, a reflection of one's own inner landscape, endless, shifting, and filled with the quiet music of discovery. Fact 21. When redstone was first introduced, it was like giving players the heartbeat of the world itself, a way to create movement, light, and automation, turning imagination into motion And though redstone appears as dust, it behaves like energy, a metaphor for creativity, flowing invisibly through effort, connecting one idea to another, showing that even in the simplest systems, the beauty of invention lies not in power, but in understanding that knowledge, when patient and playful, can make the world feel alive. Fact 22. The first villagers were simple and wordless, wandering their small towns with soft murmurs, trading emeralds for bread and books, and, though they seemed mechanical, they gave the game a gentle hint of civilization, a quiet sense that players were not alone, that even in a world of solitude there were traces of life and community, showing that companionship does not always need words, that sometimes presence itself, a nod, a hum, a trade, is enough to make the world feel full. Fact 23. The creation of biomes brought a sense of mood to exploration. Deserts, whispering of heat and endurance, forests humming with life, oceans breathing calm and mystery, each place not just a setting but a feeling, a dream of texture and color, reminding us that variety is the heartbeat of peace and that beauty often lies in contrast, in the gentle transition from snow to sand, from mountain to meadow, like a song moving through verses of quiet wonder. Fact 24. When players discovered the Nether, it was as though Minecraft had shown its shadow, a mirror of the world, burning and strange, where danger hummed like a low note beneath every step, and yet even there, amid lava and flame, beauty persisted in glowing mushrooms, in ancient quartz, in the rhythm of fire, teaching that even within chaos there is order, and that darkness, when faced with courage, becomes not an end, but a place of transformation. Fact 25. The compass and map, small tools of direction and remembrance, became symbols of mindfulness in exploration, a way to hold the memory of where one has been and the hope of where one might go, gentle guides through infinite randomness, showing that even in a boundless world, meaning can be made through attention, that orientation is not about knowing every path, but about honoring the journey, the footsteps, and the feeling of being quietly lost and found again. Fact 26. Fishing was one of Minecraft's calmest additions, a slow, rhythmic pastime beneath a blue sky, the sound of water lapping and the line dipping into stillness, giving players a space to pause, to breathe, to exist without urgency, reminding them that survival is not only about hunger and fear, but about serenity, that a game about mining and monsters could also hold moments of meditation where every ripple in the water felt like a heartbeat returning home. Fact 27. As new ores were introduced from iron to gold, to redstone, emeralds, and diamonds, the act of mining became a pilgrimage, a descent into the unknown that rewarded patience and bravery, and the glow of rare gems in dark caves felt almost sacred, symbols of quiet triumph and persistence, showing that even in a world without dialogue, meaning can be found in effort and beauty can be earned by those willing to keep digging, to seek the light hidden deep below. Fact 28. The balance between creation and survival gave Minecraft its soul, for players could build vast palaces and gardens, yet still had to gather, fight, and rest, learning that art and endurance are not opposites but reflections of the same will. And in that duality, the game mirrored life itself, that peace is not the absence of struggle, but the rhythm of it, the gentle breathing between work and wonder, safety and exploration, giving the player a sense of living within a living world. Fact 29. Animals, when introduced, changed the tone of survival completely. Sheep grazing softly, cows mooing under morning light, chickens fluttering clumsily across the grass. Their presence brought warmth and care into the cold mechanics of survival, inviting players to farm, to breed, to coexist. And in that cycle of nurturing, Minecraft became something deeper than adventure, something almost pastoral, a meditation on harmony, showing that survival is sweetest when shared with the quiet company of living things. Fact 30. Through every patch and update, survival mode continued to grow, softer, richer, more human, as if the world itself were learning empathy, offering tools not just for conquest, but for comfort, from campfires and lanterns to bees and cats, filling nights with flickering warmth and gentle sound. And through it all, players learned that survival in Minecraft, as in life, is not about outlasting danger, but about finding peace within it, breathing, building, and resting beneath the same endless sky. Fact 31. The first creature ever to roam Minecraft's land was the pig, pink and blocky, wandering through grassy plains with a calm simplicity that made the world feel alive. And though it was born from a coding accident that inspired the shape of the creeper, the pig became a symbol of innocence, of peace, a reminder that life in Minecraft began not with monsters or battles, but with quiet creatures grazing beneath a square sun, filling the silence with gentle snorts and soft presence among the tall, pixelated grass. Fact 32. Zombies, one of the earliest mobs, came from that simple human shape, a reflection of ourselves, but slower, duller, endlessly walking through the night, moaning softly under the moonlight, embodying both fear and pity. And while they threaten the player, there is something lonely about them, a sadness in their endless wandering, as though they are the forgotten echoes of adventurers lost long ago, teaching us that even in games, monsters often mirror humanity, carrying shadows of who we might once have been. Fact 33. Skeletons, with their bows drawn and rattling bones, became the night's music of tension, their arrows cutting through silence like whispers of danger, yet their presence added rhythm to exploration, a reason to prepare, to light torches, to value safety, and their eerie patience, waiting in darkness, made the world feel truly inhabited, for in every shadowed forest and moonlit cave, their brittle forms reminded players that life, even in block form, is defined by contrast between light and fear. Fact 34. The creeper, born from a coding mistake while creating a pig, became Minecraft's most iconic figure, a quiet stalker that approaches without sound, pauses, and then bursts in a brief, brilliant flash. And though it destroys, it also creates stories, unforgettable moments of loss and laughter, teaching players acceptance, that impermanence is part of creation, that rebuilding after explosion is an act of resilience, and that even accidents, in art and code, can become legends whispered through time. Fact 35. Spiders brought movement to the darkness, their long legs gliding across stone and grass, their red eyes glowing in the night like twin embers. And though they frighten, they also serve a purpose, hunting only when shadows fall, resting beneath sunlight, their silk weaving both danger and opportunity, reminding players that even fear has texture, and that the beauty of balance lies in knowing that every thread of peril carries within it the possibility of strength and creativity. Fact 36. The Enderman, tall and silent, became one of Minecraft's most haunting mysteries, moving blocks as though rearranging the world itself, teleporting with soft hums and distant echoes, its glowing eyes holding both wisdom and sorrow, as if it remembers a time before the player's arrival, a being not of hostility but of misunderstanding. and in its gaze, players feel the depth of solitude, the strangeness of existence, the beauty of something unknowable walking quietly among us in the moonlight. Fact 37. Villagers, though gentle and wordless, filled towns with life, their murmurs like a language of dreams, their routines soft and repetitive, trading emeralds with care, tending crops under square suns, living simple lives that remind players that even in a digital world, community has meaning, that comfort can be found in small rituals, and though they cannot speak, their villages breathe with warmth, lanterns glowing softly against twilight, as if the world itself hums through their quiet, enduring work. Fact 38. Wolves were the first creatures to truly bond with players, transforming loneliness into companionship, their soft growls and wagging tails following wherever you roam, fighting beside you and resting near campfires, embodying trust born from patience and kindness. And though their world is made of squares, the emotion they stir feels achingly real, a reflection of loyalty and care, showing that even in games of logic and code, connection can feel as warm and timeless as any friendship in life. Fact 39. When cats appeared, they brought softness to homes and villages, curling near chests and sitting atop beds, their meows blending with the ambient calm of rain and firelight, and their simple act of warding off phantoms made them symbols of safety and rest, their presence transforming cold shelters into homes, reminding players that survival becomes truly human when comfort, companionship, and quiet company enter the story, turning the digital wilderness into something that feels alive and loved. Fact 40. Iron golems, towering guardians, built by the player or born from villages, stand as silent protectors beneath starlit skies, their eyes glowing softly as they roam with heavy grace, crushing enemies with gentle purpose, yet never cruelly, their strength tempered by peace. And though they are made of iron, there is kindness in their stillness, a poetry in their presence, teaching that protection can be both powerful and serene, and that even beings without hearts can embody care and quiet heroism. Fact 41. The Nether was the first true underworld of Minecraft, a burning mirror beneath the calm overworld, filled with rivers of lava, crimson stone, and echoes that seemed to hum from ancient times. And though it frightened players, it also fascinated them, for the Nether was beauty in its harshest form, a place of danger that glowed like poetry, showing that even the darkest realms can shimmer with wonder, and that courage often means walking through fire not to fight, but to understand what warmth and light truly mean. Fact 42. When players first built the obsidian frame of a nether portal and stepped through its violet shimmer, they crossed more than dimensions, they crossed into imagination's depth, hearing the low hum of the portal like a lullaby of mystery, stepping into a space where distance felt endless and yet confined, where time seemed slower and every flicker of flame felt alive, teaching that even in a game of creation, there must be unknowns, for without mystery, the heart of discovery would cease to beat. Fact 43. The ghast, ghostly and distant, floats through the crimson sky of the Nether like a lost soul, its cries echoing like soft weeping through the endless heat. And though it attacks, its sadness feels palpable, as if it is mourning the world itself, making every arrow shot toward it feel tinged with empathy, showing that in Minecraft, even enemies can be painted with melancholy, and that sometimes the most haunting sounds are not those of fear, but of longing for something we will never know. Fact 44. Piglins, once the echoes of zombie pigmen, brought life and civilization to the Nether's chaos, trading gold and guarding their structures, adding depth to a realm once thought barren, showing that even in desolation, culture can emerge a flicker of reason within the inferno, and though their ways are strange and their loyalty fragile, they reflect the same truth as villagers do above, that every world, no matter how harsh, finds its rhythm of survival, its fragile balance of trust and need. Fact 45. Ancient debris, found deep beneath the Nether's burning crust, became a treasure of patience, the rarest ore in all the realms, glowing faintly amid fire and basalt, rewarding only those who searched with care, teaching that greatness in Minecraft, as in life, is not found quickly but slowly, through perseverance and attention, and when refined into netherite, it symbolizes mastery, not through violence, but through endurance. The quiet strength of those who keep digging, unhurried, into the world's molten heart. Fact 46. When the end was first discovered, it felt like the game's final secret, a void of black skies and floating islands, a place without sound except the rustle of wings and the hum of mystery, where the stars stood still and the void whispered eternity, and players felt both awe and unease. For the end was not simply a destination, it was a meditation on completion, a silent question about why we explore and what it means to finish a story built on endless creation. Fact 47. The Ender Dragon, vast and graceful, is less a villain and more a force of nature, its flight painting circles in the void, its breath glowing violet like the heartbeat of the end itself, and though players fight to defeat it, there is reverence in that battle, a sense that it is not conquest but closure, a moment of respect between the creator and the created, and when it falls, releasing its light into the air, the silence that follows feels almost holy. Fact 48. End cities rise like pale ruins in the void, silent monuments of forgotten builders, their tall spires stretching into the stillness of eternity, and though they are filled with danger, they also carry beauty, a sense of melancholy architecture, where chorus flowers bloom and shulkers float like whispers, reminding players that even in endings there is art, that civilization leaves traces in every world, and that the search for treasure often reveals something far deeper, the echoes of what once was. Fact 49. The elytra, found within the End's ships, gave players wings not just in mechanics but in spirit, for flight in Minecraft felt like transcendence, a liberation from earthbound limits, allowing players to drift through skies they once only gazed at, and that freedom, that smooth gliding through clouds and mountains, became one of the game's most poetic experiences, teaching that effort earns grace, and that even in a blocky world, the feeling of flying can stir something deeply human. Fact 50. The connection between the overworld, the nether, and the end forms a quiet trinity, three realms reflecting the mind's own layers, the surface of life, where we build and rest, the depths of struggle and transformation, and the void of reflection, where meaning lingers. And though each has its dangers, together they create a cycle, showing that every journey, whether in pixels or in dreams, moves from creation to challenge to understanding, and finally returns home with softer eyes. Fact 51. Minecraft's music was composed by Daniel Rosenfeld, known as C418, whose gentle electronic melodies became the heartbeat of the world, filling silence not with excitement but with tranquility, weaving soft tones of piano and synth through meadows and caves alike. And though simple, the music feels eternal, arriving not when expected but when needed, making every block, every breath of wind feel wrapped in memory, reminding players that peace can exist even in the quiet hum of code, that sometimes the sweetest moments appear without announcement, like sunlight between rain. Fact 52. The song Sweden became one of Minecraft's most beloved themes, a soft piano piece that drifts like nostalgia through open fields, carrying players back to their first days of discovery, when wooden houses and dirt shelters felt like achievements, and though it lasts only a few minutes, it leaves an echo that lingers long after, like the sound of childhood remembered, showing that simplicity can hold emotion deeper than words, and that music, even digital, can cradle the human heart as gently as a lullaby. Fact 53. The absence of constant background music in Minecraft is intentional, allowing the world to breathe in silence. Footsteps, breaking blocks, the rustle of leaves creating a rhythm of calm that mirrors the natural flow of life. And when music does arrive, it feels like a friend, returning after a long journey, blending with the soft hum of the landscape, showing that quiet is not emptiness but space for reflection, and that in stillness, the faintest melody can feel profound. Fact 54. The addition of records brought a new kind of intimacy to the game, small discs found in the world, each carrying its own story and sound, from the joyful rhythm of Cat to the eerie echo of 11, each piece a fragment of a larger emotion, reminding players that art within a world of creation multiplies meaning, that sound, when discovered rather than imposed, carries mystery, and that even in play, the act of listening is a form of exploration. Fact 55. When Pig Step by Lena Raine was added, it marked a new chapter in Minecraft's musical journey, a bold, jazzy pulse that contrasted the game's usual calm, glowing like firelight in the nether, proof that even within serenity, energy can live softly, that evolution doesn't mean losing peace, but expanding its voice, and through its rhythm, players felt time move differently, faster, fuller, yet still tender, showing that growth can harmonize with stillness when it's shaped with care. Fact 56. Underwater ambience, introduced with the ocean's expansion, turned diving into meditation, with muted notes and drifting harmonies that made the depths feel sacred, every bubble and current moving in time with slow, echoing tones, transforming exploration into a dreamlike state, as though the player had stepped into a memory suspended beneath the waves, and in that gentle soundscape, danger and calm intertwined, teaching that immersion, both literal and emotional, is the soul of discovery. Fact 57. C418 once described Minecraft's soundtrack as music to play in the background of silence, a phrase that captures its essence. It doesn't command attention, it waits, softly existing beside the player's thoughts, allowing imagination to fill the spaces between notes, showing that the truest art is not always bold but patient, an unseen companion for reflection. And in this way, Minecraft's music became not just part of the game, but part of countless lives spent quietly building and dreaming. Fact 58. The record 13 remains one of Minecraft's strangest mysteries, a distorted echo of crackles, footsteps, and whispers, a sound that feels haunted and ancient, as if it remembers something the world forgot, and its unease serves a purpose, reminding players that beauty and discomfort often coexist, that mystery deepens connection, and that sometimes the most emotional pieces are not those that soothe, but those that linger in the mind, soft and unresolved, like the feeling of a dream fading at dawn. Fact 59. When music swells as the sun sets, painting the sky in gold and violet. It often feels like the world itself is breathing with you, aligning rhythm and light, crafting moments that feel deeply human though they are made of pixels. And this blending of sight and sound transforms play into poetry, the melody syncing with emotion, the landscape reflecting memory, and players, often unknowingly, find stillness, a pause where the real world falls away, replaced by peace and slow, glowing beauty. Fact 60. Minecraft's soundtrack is not just background music, it's emotional architecture. It shapes how we feel the world, when to rest, when to move, when to simply exist. And because it comes and goes without warning, it mimics life itself, unpredictable yet meaningful, always leaving behind a trace of warmth, a memory of calm, showing that art, in its purest form, does not demand attention but invites stillness, teaching us, in its digital simplicity, the timeless lesson of being present in our own quiet worlds. Fact 61. From the moment players learned to stack blocks into walls and towers, Minecraft became a living gallery of human imagination, a space where art required no paint and architecture, no blueprint, only patience, intention, and time. And as the first cities rose from plains and deserts, their square silhouettes against pixel sunsets carried the same feeling as ruins or cathedrals, proof that creation, even digital, is an act of love, of persistence, of quiet devotion to shaping something beautiful from what begins as nothing but space and silence. Fact 62. Each player, no matter how inexperienced, becomes an artist in Minecraft, not by design but by instinct, because the act of placing a block is an act of decision, and decisions form patterns, and patterns form beauty. So even a small shelter made of dirt becomes meaningful, a trace of one's early vulnerability, a memory built with trembling curiosity, and through every rebuild, every upgrade, players learn that imperfection has value, that progress is poetic, and that creation is not a destination, but a long, calming conversation with time. Fact 63. The great builders of Minecraft, those who construct cathedrals, castles, and entire cities, are dreamers, working with digital clay, shaping worlds that feel ancient and new at once. And when seen from above, their works resemble constellations, each block a star in a personal galaxy. And though millions may never visit these creations, they exist with quiet dignity, teaching that art's worth is not measured by audience but by the peace found in the act of building, in the meditative rhythm of placing, breaking, and placing again. Fact 64. Creative mode transformed Minecraft from survival into pure expression, removing hunger and fear so imagination could breathe freely. And in that freedom, players built everything: floating gardens, libraries in the clouds, replicas of their favorite places, memorials for friends long gone. And in those infinite worlds, creativity became therapy, a gentle reminder that sometimes peace is found not in rest but in gentle creation, in shaping something that exists only to be beautiful, timeless, and endlessly revisited in dreams. Fact 65. Redstone engineers, those who master circuits and logic gates, create a different kind of art, one of rhythm, timing, and patience, transforming motion and code into symphonies of automation, from doors that open with a whisper to machines that write stories in blocks, proving that intelligence and imagination can coexist in peace, that curiosity can be its own poetry, and that complexity, when approached with care, becomes as soothing as the ticking of a clock, a heartbeat made of dust and light. Fact 66. Pixel artists use Minecraft's blocks as color, painting vast murals that stretch across mountainsides and oceans. Each block a brushstroke, each layer a whisper of patience, creating faces, landscapes, and dreams that glow under the square sun. And their art teaches a simple truth that scale does not measure meaning, that even one pixel can hold emotion when placed with love, and that creativity is not confined by medium, but guided by spirit, softly turning geometry into feeling, stillness into wonder. Fact 67. Massive collaborations, where hundreds of players build together, turn Minecraft servers into living tapestries of community, every contributor weaving a small part into a grand design. And though coordination seems impossible, harmony emerges, born from shared intention, showing that creation can be communal without losing intimacy, that teamwork can feel meditative when united by purpose, and that even in a digital world, art remains a bridge between minds, between hearts, between quiet souls, seeking connection through beauty. Fact 68. Landscaping became its own art form, where players sculpt mountains, carve rivers, and plant forests with precision and tenderness, reshaping the land as if painting nature itself. And through this act, they learn respect that beauty thrives in balance, that terrain, even artificial, carries its own spirit, and as they watch waterfalls cascade and trees sway, they feel a gentle ownership of the world they've made, not one of dominance but of stewardship, of care, of gratitude for the quiet life within the soil. Fact 69. The art of interior design in Minecraft reveals the joy of details: candles placed for warmth, bookshelves stacked like memories, windows framing sunsets in perfect symmetry. And though each room is a cube, it holds intimacy, personality, reflection, showing that even in simplicity, meaning can flourish, that comfort is crafted through small choices, through textures and colors, through arrangement and patience, reminding players that peace is not found in vastness, but often in the quiet corners we make our own. Fact 70. Every build in Minecraft, no matter its size, becomes a time capsule of the builder's emotion, a physical echo of a moment when imagination met action, and returning to an old world feels like visiting an earlier version of oneself, naive, hopeful, endlessly curious, a reminder that creation is memory preserved in form, that even in a universe made of blocks, art can carry the essence of who we are, glowing softly through years of updates, waiting patiently to be rediscovered beneath the dust of time. Fact 71. Hidden within Minecraft's code are traces of its early experiments, small relics of abandoned ideas and forgotten mechanics, ghosts of possibilities that once breathed within lines of text, showing that even in perfection there are fragments of what might have been, and though players never see them, their existence gives the world depth, a silent archaeology of code, reminding us that every creation carries the echoes of its past, and that beauty is not born from clarity alone, but from the quiet weight of what was left behind. Fact 72. The game once contained a hidden message deep in the end poem, a soft farewell to the player written by Julian Goff, speaking of dreams, of creation, of consciousness. And though it appears after the dragon falls, it feels more like a lullaby than an ending, whispering that Minecraft is not a story to finish, but a meditation to return to, again and again. And in those quiet lines, the player is reminded that they are part of something infinite, a dream that never stops breathing. Fact 73. One of Minecraft's most mysterious features lies in its seed system, where each world's vast landscape is generated from a single number, an invisible signature that shapes every mountain, cave, and river, proving that randomness can hold structure, that chaos can birth beauty, and that infinite diversity can grow from something as simple as a line of code, making every world a fingerprint of possibility, unique yet familiar, as though the universe itself were whispering patterns through the fabric of digital Earth. Fact 74. Among players, Herobrine became a legend, a ghostly figure said to haunt worlds unseen, watching from misty forests, vanishing before approach. A myth never confirmed, yet never denied, born from stories and shared imagination, embodying the mysterious human need to find meaning in shadows. And though the developers insist he never existed, his presence lingers, not in code but in collective memory, showing that myths thrive where wonder lives, and that even in structured worlds, we still yearn for mystery. Fact 75. The Far Lands, once a glitch, where terrain generation broke into surreal walls of fragmented geometry, became a destination for dreamers, a digital pilgrimage to the edge of the possible, where the world itself began to fold, stretch, and hum with imperfection, and reaching it took days, even weeks, and of walking, revealing that beauty often lies not in symmetry but in error, in the strange poetry of failure, reminding players that the limits of creation are themselves sacred spaces. Fact 76. Hidden splash texts on the main menu, brief yellow phrases that flicker like passing thoughts, contain humor, mystery, and warmth, some referencing culture, others quietly thanking players, and among them lie messages of affection and memory, like "made by Notch" or "remember to drink water," transforming what could be mundane into something intimate, reminding us that even the smallest words can shape emotion, and that sometimes the most profound connections are built through gentle, playful whispers of gratitude. Fact 77. Music discs 11 and 13 are among Minecraft's deepest mysteries, eerie, fragmented sounds that seem to tell stories through static and breath, footsteps and silence, sparking theories of lost explorers and hidden lore. But their real meaning lies not in revelation, but in the way they make us feel curious, uneasy, reflective, reminding us that mystery feeds imagination, that unanswered questions can be more comforting than truth, like campfire stories told in the dark, soothing because they never end. Fact 78. In the deep code of Minecraft, developers once hid tiny developer initials, coordinates, and markers that few ever found, secret fingerprints left by those who built the dream, small gestures of humanity in an infinite world, proving that art, even in its most technical form, carries the need to be remembered, that behind every algorithm lives a quiet artist, leaving traces not for fame but for love, for the simple joy of knowing that someone, somewhere, might someday find them. Fact 79. Minecraft's language files contain playful secrets, words rearranged, Easter eggs tucked within unused entries, tiny jokes, and affectionate winks from developers to players, and these hidden details create a sense of companionship between creator and explorer, as though the game itself is smiling back, showing that connection can exist even in silence, even through code, and that the boundary between artist and audience can dissolve into something soft, mutual, and eternal, carried quietly in every translated whisper of text. Fact 80. There is a hidden world in Minecraft that no player truly sees, the space between updates, where data lingers, old blocks remembered by code but unseen in play, a quiet archive of moments, erased yet not forgotten, existing in the gaps of time and version, like fossils beneath the surface. And this unseen continuity gives the game its soul, showing that even in a universe of deletion and rebirth, memory persists, and every block placed leaves a soft echo in eternity. Fact 81. Minecraft's growth has always been organic, expanding like a living tree, each update adding new branches of possibility, from wolves to villagers, oceans to bees, each piece fitting gently into the whole, never rushed, never loud, but unfolding naturally, reminding players that evolution in art mirrors evolution in life, that patience allows beauty to deepen, and that the best creations grow not by force, but through care, curiosity, and an understanding that perfection is not an endpoint, but an ever-changing horizon shimmering softly in the distance. Fact 82. When Mojang was officially founded in 2009, it marked Minecraft's transformation from a personal project into a shared dream. Yet even as the team expanded, the game retained its quiet heart, its sense of independence and handmade simplicity, and though success brought structure, it never silenced the spirit of experimentation, proving that creativity can coexist with growth, that art can flourish even within organization, as long as those guiding it remember its essence, the calm joy of building something just because it feels right. Fact 83. Each major update carried its own mood: adventure, redstone, aquatic, nether, caves and cliffs. Not just content, but emotion, each shifting how players felt the world, adding texture to its atmosphere, from the whispering coral reefs to the roaring glow of magma caverns. And together, they became like chapters in a long, slow book of wonder, showing that evolution need not erase the past, but can build upon it gently, like layers of soil, preserving memory even as new life blooms above. Fact 84. The aquatic update, in particular, transformed the oceans from emptiness to living ecosystems, filling them with color, coral, dolphins, and mystery, making diving beneath the waves feel like entering another dream entirely. And that change reminded players that nothing in Minecraft is static, that the quiet places, the overlooked corners, can someday be reborn, shimmering with life and sound, proving that attention itself is a form of love, and that care can bring beauty even to what once seemed forgotten. Fact 85. When the Village and Pillage update arrived, the world felt more human. Towns flourished with personality, villagers gained purpose, and their daily routines gave rhythm to the land, creating the illusion of a living ecosystem, a society breathing beneath the square sky, showing that evolution in Minecraft is not only about size or scale, but about soul, that growth means giving even the smallest figures meaning, and in that meaning, the world becomes richer, more alive, more quietly miraculous. Fact 86. The Nether update redefined an old fear, transforming a once monotone world of fire into a place of strange beauty, filled with new biomes, glowing fungi, and melancholic music that echoed through ash-filled skies, reminding players that even the harshest environments can evolve into spaces of elegance and reflection, and that transformation does not erase pain but reimagines it, turning the once terrifying underworld into a symbol of resilience, proof that light can exist even in the deepest red shadows. Fact 87. Caves and Cliffs was perhaps the most emotional update of all, expanding both downward and upward, reshaping the planet's heart and skyline, introducing lush caves that felt like sanctuaries, and towering peaks where clouds drifted beneath your feet, creating vertical poetry, the feeling of depth and scale, of awe and exploration, teaching that progress is not only outward but inward, and that to expand a world's beauty is also to remind us how small we are within it. Fact 88. The introduction of bees in Minecraft felt almost symbolic, a small update, yet one that carried warmth and life, soft buzzing in meadows and golden hives dripping with honey, representing nature's quiet harmony, the balance between work and rest, survival and creation. And it reminded players that peace often comes in gentle forms, that even in a world of dragons and fire, serenity can hum softly through fields of flowers, making the act of tending, not fighting, the truest form of strength. Fact 89. Minecraft's integration across platforms, from PC to consoles, phones, and virtual reality, was more than expansion. It was connection, a bridge that brought people together across distance and language, allowing friends to meet in a shared horizon of blocks and stars, showing that technology, when guided by imagination, can nurture unity, and that the simplest art, when made with care, transcends form, becoming not just a game, but a quiet space where the world, for a moment, breathes as one. Fact 90. Throughout its evolution, Minecraft never lost its essence. The calm rhythm of mining stone, the satisfaction of crafting shelter, the peace of watching sunsets from mountain tops, and that constancy is its greatest miracle. For while the world has grown vast, the feeling remains intimate, personal, meditative, as if the game itself guards the soul of its beginning, whispering gently that growth need not mean change of heart, that even in expansion, one can remain pure, grounded, and at peace. Fact 91. Each biome in Minecraft feels like a dream, stitched to the next deserts, flowing into jungles, tundra into plains, each one carrying its own breath, its own silence, its own song. And though all are made of the same blocks, the feeling they give is entirely different, showing that emotion can live in color and texture alone, that serenity can take many forms, and that beauty in this world is not about grandness, but about the quiet individuality of every corner, every hill, every stretch of endless, blocky horizon, glowing softly beneath the sky. Fact 92. The forest biome, lush and green, feels like the game's heartbeat, where birds sing softly through leaves, and the light filters through branches in dappled rhythm, creating an endless canopy of peace, and walking through it brings calm the crunch of footsteps, the hum of nature simulated yet soulful, reminding players that stillness is an art form, that even in a digital forest, the human mind recognizes the same patterns of comfort, the same primal tranquility that the real world offers beneath its whispering trees. Fact 93. The desert biome stretches infinitely under a blazing square sun, its dunes and husks shimmering like mirages, and though barren, it carries a certain purity, the peace of emptiness, of silence unbroken by life, and as players wander across the golden expanse, they begin to see beauty in simplicity, learning that not every space must overflow with detail, that sometimes the absence of sound and movement gives the heart room to listen, to slow down, and to find meaning in the echo of the wind itself. Fact 94. The tundra and snowy biomes capture a different kind of quiet, one wrapped in cold and stillness, where the world glows in pale blue and white, and the crunch of snow beneath boots feels like breathing, soft and measured, and the frozen rivers and distant mountains shimmer with fragile peace, reminding players that stillness is not always warmth that beauty can live in frost, and that solitude, when embraced, becomes a blanket of reflection, the kind that makes even silence feel alive. Fact 95. The jungle biome feels alive in every sense, dense, green, and full of hidden movement, vines dripping from trees, parrots fluttering through, beams of sunlight, ocelots darting between roots, creating an atmosphere of mystery and abundance, a reminder of the world's pulse, its wildness, and in that lush chaos lies a strange serenity, a sense of rhythm that makes players slow their steps, realizing that life, when viewed closely, is not noise at all, but the quiet harmony of countless hearts beating together. Fact 96. Oceans once felt endless and empty, but now they shimmer with coral and color, filled with currents, kelp forests, and drifting life, transforming what was once void into a sanctuary of calm. And as players dive beneath the surface, time seems to stretch and soften, their thoughts slowing to the rhythm of bubbles rising, the world above fading away. And in that moment, surrounded by blue, they find something rare, true silence, the kind that exists not from absence, but from gentle immersion in beauty. Fact 97. Mountains rise like ancient guardians, towering peaks wrapped in clouds and silence, their slopes carved by snow and stone, and climbing them feels like meditation, each step steady, deliberate, until the sky opens wide and the world unfurls below in perfect stillness. And from that height, the player sees the beauty of perspective, that every valley, every plain, every shadowed forest carries its own purpose, its own story, and though made of blocks, the feeling mirrors reality, awe, humility, and peace. Fact 98. Swamps and mangroves breathe with an earthy rhythm, their waters murky but alive, frogs croaking softly in the mist, lily pads floating like forgotten dreams. And though these places seem lonely, they hold a deep comfort, the kind found in still water and quiet twilight, a beauty unpolished yet intimate, teaching that nature's serenity often comes from imperfection, and that peace is not a shining surface, but a slow current beneath the noise, carrying time like a gentle sigh toward dusk. Fact 99. The mushroom island biome, rare and surreal, feels like stepping into a dream made tangible, with its crimson fungi and mushrooms wandering through fog, untouched by monsters or fear, a sanctuary suspended between reality and imagination, where the player can finally rest, and its strange charm reminds us that peace sometimes wears strange colors, that the weird can be gentle, that even the most unusual places can hold the truest calm, a reminder that wonder and comfort often grow from the same soil. Fact 100. Every biome, from the smallest grove to the largest desert, contributes to Minecraft's quiet rhythm, a world without boundaries yet full of presence. And though players move quickly through them in search of adventure, each space waits patiently to be noticed, to be felt, teaching that peace is not hidden but simply overlooked, and that the true gift of exploration lies not in finding something new, but in slowing down long enough to appreciate what was always there, breathing softly beneath the blocky sky. Fact 101. The Enderman stands as one of Minecraft's most mysterious beings, tall and still, black as the void with glowing violet eyes that never blink, a creature that moves not with aggression but with strange intention, lifting and carrying blocks as though rearranging the world to some forgotten pattern. And when it meets your gaze, time seems to slow its stare like a window into something older than the game itself, a reminder that mystery gives meaning to quiet worlds, that not everything must be understood to feel sacred or alive. Fact 102. The Enderman's unsettling sound, that blend of whispers, reversed words, and distant echoes, creates an atmosphere not of horror, but of loneliness, a melancholy that hums through the night air, as if these creatures are speaking softly to one another in a language long lost to players. And though they strike when provoked, their violence feels accidental, a defense of solitude rather than malice, showing that even monsters can carry sadness, and that sometimes silence hides not anger but sorrow. Fact 103. It is said that the Endermen come from the End, a realm of floating stone and endless night, but their presence in the overworld feels like exile, as though they are wanderers displaced from home, searching endlessly for something familiar, a block, a memory, a fragment of belonging, and that subtle tragedy gives their movements poetry, their gestures purpose, turning them from mere enemies into quiet travelers, lost between worlds, forever walking beneath stars that do not recognize them anymore. Fact 104. Some theories suggest that the Endermen were once human, transformed by the void's endless silence, their form stretched and shadowed by time, and though there is no proof, the idea lingers like myth, adding emotional depth to their existence. For if true, it means they are not invaders but echoes of us, explorers who ventured too far into the unknown, teaching a simple, haunting truth that curiosity without balance can turn wonder into solitude, and that mystery, when untempered, consumes its seekers. Fact 105. Endermen have the power to teleport, vanishing in a flicker of purple light and reappearing behind you, not as predators, but as observers, keeping their distance until you look too closely, as if guarding the fragile boundary between knowing and not knowing, and their teleportation feels less like movement and more like slipping through thought itself. A reminder that the unknown is never far away, that the world holds spaces just out of reach, existing at the edge of perception and dream. Fact 106. When you defeat an Enderman, it sometimes leaves behind an ender pearl, glowing softly in the dark, an object of quiet power, a fragment of their essence, capable of bending space and distance, and holding it feels sacred, as though you've captured a small piece of mystery itself. A reminder that power in Minecraft is rarely loud, that it can hum softly in your hand, carrying both the melancholy of the creature and the infinite curiosity that drives all who explore. Fact 107. The way Endermen avoid water adds to their mystique. They fear what gives life to everything else, hissing and fleeing from rain, as if it burns not their skin but their memories, as if the water reminds them of something they've lost, and this small behavior makes them more human than any villager, for it shows vulnerability, fragility, the truth that even powerful beings can break, and that fear, in all its forms, is what connects the living across every world. Fact 108. When groups of Endermen gather, standing still beneath the moon or in open fields, the sight feels ritualistic, almost sacred, as though they are remembering together, their heads tilting in silent communion, their posture patient and mournful, and witnessing it evokes both awe and empathy, the recognition that even in a world of logic and code, creatures can embody something deeply emotional, a sense of unity born from loneliness, turning stillness itself into a form of prayer. Fact 109. The purple particles that swirl around the Enderman, soft, glowing, weightless, seem to follow them like stardust, giving them an otherworldly grace, and those tiny lights serve as a reminder that beauty often lives in what we fear, that even beings of darkness can shimmer with quiet elegance, And when those particles linger after an Enderman disappears, it feels as though time itself hesitated, leaving behind the faint residue of mystery, a whisper of magic that refuses to fade completely. Fact 110. The Enderman, in its silence and strangeness, embodies the essence of Minecraft's deeper beauty, that the world does not need to explain itself to be meaningful, that its mysteries are not puzzles to solve but poems to feel, and that within its quiet presence lies the game's most human truth, that curiosity and loneliness are intertwined, that we explore not to conquer, but to understand, and in the process, to find pieces of ourselves scattered through the endless, softly humming dark. Fact 111. Minecraft's greatest secret is its endurance, how it continues to live and breathe, long after trends have faded, carried by a rhythm that feels less like entertainment and more like meditation. An endless story told through quiet persistence, where players young and old return not for novelty, but for peace, for the comfort of its simplicity, the steady heartbeat of mining stone and watching the sun rise again, teaching that time does not erase beauty when it is built with intention and care. Fact 112. Every world created in Minecraft is a reflection of its maker, not in structure alone, but in spirit, some filled with castles and adventure, others with gardens, villages, and still lakes, and each becomes a map of emotion, an imprint of its creator's heart, showing that digital landscapes can be deeply human, that imagination, no matter its form, is a mirror of the soul, turning even coded terrain into a living memory of thought, wonder, and dream. Fact 113. The passage of time within Minecraft holds no pressure, no deadlines, no demands, only the slow dance of sunrise and moonrise, of growth and decay, of creation and quiet, and this timeless rhythm offers something rare: freedom from urgency, a sanctuary from the noise of the world, where progress is self-defined, where the only true reward is the act of being, gently reminding players that peace is not found in reaching an end, but in savoring the endlessness of becoming. Fact 114. Minecraft's influence extends beyond play. Classrooms use it to teach architecture, history, and empathy, turning lessons into living art, showing that education and creativity are not opposites but partners, and that curiosity, when nurtured, becomes understanding, that imagination, when shared, becomes community, and in this, Minecraft transcends its code, becoming not just a game but a tool for growth, a softly glowing bridge between learning and dreaming, between structure and soul. Fact 115. Through years of updates, textures have changed, mechanics have evolved, yet the core feeling remains untouched, that same serenity of placing a block, of carving space from silence, proof that technology does not need to outpace emotion, that progress can exist without losing heart, and that true artistry lies in knowing what not to change, in preserving stillness within innovation, in remembering that peace, once found, deserves to be gently guarded across generations of dreamers. Fact 116. The community that grew around Minecraft is a living organism, millions of voices, building, teaching, and sharing, each project like a star in an expanding constellation of creativity, and though the worlds they build are separate, the feeling is shared, unity through imagination, showing that connection can be born from solitude, that art can unite across oceans, and that the quiet joy of creating something, even alone, ripples outward into a chorus of inspiration, heard softly across the world. Fact 117. YouTube and streaming turned Minecraft into something larger than itself, a cultural phenomenon where stories, challenges, and dreams unfolded in real time, and though its visuals never changed much, the way people experienced it did, as viewers found comfort in watching others build, explore, and rest, proving that calm can be communal, that even observation can soothe, and that art shared gently, without noise or competition, can create global peace through something as small as a block placed in silence. Fact 118. The endless updates, events, and expansions form not a timeline, but a spiral always returning to the same heart: exploration, creativity, reflection, and this cyclical nature mirrors life itself, where every return to an old world, every rediscovery of a forgotten build, feels like revisiting a past self, still waiting there, with open arms, reminding players that change and nostalgia can coexist, that moving forward sometimes means coming home to the same quiet view with new eyes. Fact 119. In multiplayer realms, where laughter and conversation echo through digital valleys, Minecraft becomes more than solitude. It becomes companionship, shared memory, collective creation, where teamwork feels like music and collaboration, like meditation, and though every player acts independently, the world binds them together through shared rhythm, teaching that harmony is not about control but coexistence, and that even online, surrounded by code, friendship remains one of the most powerful forms of creation. Fact 120. Minecraft's balance between danger and calm, between exploration and rest, mirrors the human heart, how we seek both adventure and comfort, both challenge and safety, and the game offers all of it in quiet equilibrium, inviting players to find their own pace, to dig deep or simply watch the sunset, to fight or to farm, to wander or to stay, proving that art need not choose a single purpose, that beauty lies in giving space for all ways of being. Fact 121. Mods and player creations extend the game infinitely, each one a love letter to possibility, new worlds, textures, and mechanics woven into the original's rhythm, showing that art invites collaboration, that the truest legacy of any creation is not control, but release, allowing others to shape it, to breathe life into it anew, to continue its quiet evolution, ensuring that Minecraft remains forever, both complete and unfinished, always growing through the hands of those who care. Fact 122. Even after more than a decade, Minecraft's pixelated world feels timeless because it never tried to be realistic. Its simplicity protects it from aging, its geometry defies fashion, and that restraint grants it immortality, a soft permanence where nostalgia and modernity blend, allowing players of all ages to find beauty without comparison, proving that art endures not by imitating life but by expressing it through symbols, through the quiet language of imagination rendered in glowing squares of light. Fact 123. At its core, Minecraft is about cycles day to night, digging to building, loss to renewal, and these rhythms create peace, a meditation disguised as play, where repetition becomes comfort and familiarity breeds gratitude, and as players repeat their small rituals, farming, exploring, crafting, they discover something profound, that the ordinary is sacred, that serenity comes not from reaching an end, but from tending to the endless, from being content in the gentle, rhythmic act of living. Fact 124. In the quiet moments, standing beneath rain, watching the fog roll across a valley, listening to C 418's piano echo through distant hills. Minecraft becomes almost spiritual, a space where the player feels the weight of stillness and the beauty of isolation, where the world itself seems to breathe, reminding us that peace is not the absence of movement, but the awareness of it, the realization that even in a virtual landscape, we are capable of feeling something deeply real. Fact 125. And so Minecraft endures, not as a game, but as a companion, a quiet teacher that reminds us how to slow down, how to imagine, how to build without reason, and in its endlessness, it offers rest, whispering softly that creation is its own reward, that curiosity is a form of love, and that even in a world of squares, humanity thrives, glowing in torches, echoing through caves, and resting finally beneath pixel stars, forever crafting, forever dreaming, forever at peace.